From the couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by Gage Berdovich, and we're here. We're down to four teams left, and we're here for the conference championship pick'ems NFL style. Gage, how we doing? We had a great four games last weekend, man. How you doing?
Great set of games, but the sad thing to think about is as we go week by week here, we're almost done. We got this week, we got the Pro Bowl, and then the Super Bowl. And then what do we do? How do we go on with our lives after the Super Bowl?
We sit around and wait for September, and we talk free agency, draft, all that good stuff, and it's talking season after that. Unfortunately, but yeah, that's what we do. I think.
I mean, usually we look forward to like the first month of baseball, and then after that, both of our teams are like, all right, we don't want to play anymore. Um, Hockey season's still around. Maybe we have something to look forward to there. I don't really know. Pittsburgh's not really doing much. USFL, I mean, it's a spring league. It's not the same. There's really nothing that compares.
Yeah, no, there's definitely nothing that compares. We can watch some Top Golf live or something. I see them advertising that. If anybody's down, I'm not. There's maybe some NASCAR or something out there. I'm sure there's some sort of tennis tournament, something. No, there's nothing. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about after. Like you said, after April, maybe May. Sometimes our team gets us hope into June, and then it's over with for baseball. So I guess we can look forward to baseball and have a fun. Hopefully they can carry us to football season, maybe, but I doubt it. It's the Reds and the Pirates, and they usually don't last very long for us there. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we could sit down, crack a little beverage open, have some burgers, and watch some pickleball on TV because that's very exciting and intriguing.
Oh man, let's pickleball pick'em. That's what'll be after the NFL season here. That's what we'll go with. That's man, can't wait for that.
All right, we got game 3 of the pickleball pick'em tournament. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh man, it'd be like picking the cornhole tournaments. Like I don't want to watch it on TV. No.
But I mean, going back to the games from last week, some upsets, some really good games, and a lot of coaching movement around the NFL going on.
Well, last week in the picks, I went 3-1. Gage, you went 2-2. The Lions both let us down, and your upset special of the Rams fell just short at the end.
Almost pulled it off. They almost did. You're down 6 points, 2 minutes to go. You get the deep shot to Puka, and it's like, oh my God, they're going to do it. And then sack, overthrow the guy on 4th down, and we're done. Okay, thank you. Washington, do something right this week, would you?
So with those games there, we'll go ahead and start with that one there since, it was a good game there. But, man, where would Philly be this year without Saquon Barkley? Like, how huge of a signing was that? That's probably got to be the biggest free agent signing of the offseason because, like, Hurts does not throw the ball a whole lot now. A.J. Brown, is he even a part of the team anymore? I mean, after the last 2 weeks, I thought for sure they would get back on the same page and be like, no, everything's fine here, But it wasn't. And, they just ride Saquon, and it's worked so far, man.
It's worked great for him. And you got to figure, we talked beginning of the season about running back contracts. This has proven that a top running back is what's needed because without them, Jalen Hurts isn't doing anything. He's not doing anything right now. And they're paid so cheaply. You look at the 4 teams that are left, Commanders, their leading rusher is Jaden Daniels. Of course, he's on rookie contract. Eagles, leading rusher is Saquon. He's getting paid like 12.5 million, something like that. Kansas City is Kareem Hunt. He's getting paid very little. And Buffalo's James Cook, and he's not getting paid really anything either. So it's like you need this top running back because Philly, betting odds, they're Super Bowl favorites right now. However, 3 of these 4 teams don't have a high-paid running back. And James Cook, good example. He's done really well. Brian Robinson, we talked about last week, a down year for running back-wise. Only 2 games, I believe it was, over 100 yards. Jane Daniels being the leading rusher for that team, it's going to be like Lamar Jackson. A couple years into his career, he's going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to become more of a passer. Maybe he'll throw 40 touchdowns in a season and not rush for, I don't even know how many yards he has, 900 yards maybe on the ground. There's some tweaks that have to be figured out here, and I think that's why Philly is the Super Bowl favorite right now.
Yeah, and like since Hurts has been out, like he was even not throwing the ball around a whole lot before he got hurt with the concussion injuries. So, I mean, it's not just that lingering, I don't think. I think it was something with that before, and they found something with Saquon, and they've just been riding Saquon, the whole way, and it's worked so far. But the last time these two teams met up, Saquon still had a good game because Saquon usually has a good game.
Yeah.
But,
part of me has to wonder, we saw Jalen get hurt last week, and then he came in, I believe he took a safety sack in the end zone, or it was really close. I believe it was sack in the end zone. But he wasn't moving around much after he came out after the one drive, and they didn't put Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee in, which is really surprising to me. If your quarterback's not able to move around much, that's part of his game, is running around, the tush push, everything like that. So part of me thinks, there's still something lingering this week. Hopefully Washington is able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and, Philly, I thought A.J. Brown and him would get back on track, and they haven't yet.
No.
I don't know if A.J. Brown's going to be with Philly after this season. Somebody from that group is probably not going to be there next year. Whether it's Hurts or Brown or Sirianni, something's going on with that little triangle right there, and I think that it's going to come to a head at the end of this season because if things go the way I'm hoping they go and you hope they go, this is their last game of the year coming up Sunday.
And one could only hope. I don't know if one were to go, I don't know who it would be. I almost think you can't get rid of A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get rid of Sirianni. Maybe you get rid of Hurts. Hurts kind of has proven a little bit that he's not a top-tier quarterback in the league. Only 18 passing touchdowns in the regular season. He didn't turn the ball over much, which is good. But you got to throw more than 18 to be like, okay, I'm a top guy. You can't get rid of me either. Do they trade him away? I don't know. And what would the trade value be? I imagine there's teams like maybe I wouldn't think they would trade him in the division, but maybe the Giants, maybe the Vikings go and trade for him. Maybe you get, maybe the Chargers are done with Justin Herbert and you send Jalen Hurts to LA. I don't know what you do. And same goes for Sirianni. Do you get rid of him? Do you trade him? Do you see if there's a candidate? I don't really know.
Yeah, that'll be some questions to answer. And like I said, hopefully after this Sunday we'll have them because they will be playing. And what was probably, I was going to say the game of the week, but it's not the game of the weekend, but one of them. Remember, we said last week that this low-key could be the game of the week. The Commanders knock off the Lions last week by 2 touchdowns in Detroit. How shocking of a win was that? Not just to beat them, but to, handle them easily.
It was wow. I mean, they were down, the Lions were down 10 points, I believe it was, at halftime. And I was like, all right, there's a little bit of worry, but it'll be okay. It's going to be like the Texans game where they were down a lot more than 10, came back to win. It'll be okay. And then they just could not. Nothing was going right on defense. Amik Robertson gets hurt, and it was like the whole team fell apart. Jared Goff, not his best performance. That is for sure. A fumble, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Pick 6, took a hit to the head that wasn't called a flag. And then you got Jameson Williams, who throwing an interception himself into coverage. And he took forever to throw that thing. I don't know why you would throw that. Just throw it away at that point or run. I don't really know.
It's like there's a time for trick plays. Down 11, that late in the game is not the time for that.
No.
Jamison Williams had a nice run for a touchdown. Then he had a celebration that wasn't safe for children afterwards. And then they draw this play up, and he only had one catch the whole game, and he had one pick too. So I mean, and then I don't know what they were trying to do at that moment.
Jamison Williams really filled up the stat box on that game. A rushing attempt, a touchdown, a pick, a catch, a pass attempt. Like, man, he was going all out. But the one thing that surprised me was kind of going back to when Jalen Hurts was hurt and they, kept him in. Jared Goff got hurt after that hit to the head. Teddy Bridgewater didn't know he was the second string, but Teddy Bridgewater comes in, and that's when JMO has the long rushing touchdown. He threw a pass, got the completion. I'm surprised he was only out there for one drive. I kind of thought maybe they would keep him for 2 or 3 just to make sure Goff was really okay and let him get a little rest time.
Yeah, Two Gloves Teddy comes in. Like last month, he was coaching his high school, he was the head coach of a high school team leading them to a state championship in Florida. And then now he's all of a sudden in a divisional round game for the Detroit Lions playing quarterback. It was weird to see Two Gloves Teddy back out there.
Part of me, I really questioned that because I was like, did, the coaching staff just not believe in Hendon Hooker? Like, Hendon Hooker was the backup all season to Jared Goff. We saw Hendon Hooker play in a good amount of games because they were just blowing teams out like that. And then all of a sudden, divisional round comes, and you put Teddy B at backup, and Hendon Hooker is your emergency guy. Was Hooker hurt? Did they just not trust him? Were they like, okay, who do we, Teddy kind of knows the system a little bit. Hendon, we don't really, I don't know. That was very odd to me.
Yeah, it's really odd. And then, like I said, I think they was kind of trying to be desperate there at the end and having Jamison throw that trick play. And Whitney says on here, she threw her line socks away. So,
Tough.
At least we got our Commanders, in there still. So,
yep.
My Commanders are still alive. Yeah, exactly. They're still alive. Always believed.
Yep.
Hail to the Commanders.
I can't believe we both said that at the same time.
Hey, we've got to hitch ourselves to some bandwagon right here, and why not the Commanders out of the 4 teams left?
Yeah, I can't really bandwagon to any other team with the amount of hate that I've given them this season. So,
and offensively, like Scary Terry, Jaden McDaniels. I've been calling him that just joking around because there's a player in the NBA called Jaden McDaniels. But Jaden Daniels was awesome again this week. And for a rookie, I mean, they're playing with house money this week coming up against Philly. They weren't expected to be there. Dan Quinn was, fired from Atlanta just a few years ago. Nobody wanted him. This is backwards hat Dan Quinn now. Like, he's going to let it fly. Like, we go up 28-3 in the Super Bowl. We're going for it now. Like, he was not afraid to go for it on 4th down every time, and the Lions had no answer each time for it. And they kept showing Aiden Hutchinson toward the end of the game, and I just kept thinking, oh, poor Hutchinson. He was thinking he's going to come back and play in a Super Bowl, and it just didn't happen for the Lions.
Yep. And you mentioned Jaden and Terry, but the one guy who's really going under the radar right now, second in postseason receiving yards this season, Dyami Brown. This guy, don't know where he's come from, but he did great against the Falcons in the regular season towards the end, and then has just continued great play into the postseason. And it kind of makes you wonder, okay, teams can't just double Terry and trust that, their corners will win the one-on-one against other guys like Dyami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, even though he dropped a couple. But still, they got some good weapons now, and it's like, okay, I like the way this is going. Maybe Philly will be on their heels this week.
Zach Ertz, I mean, he had some big catches the other day. And
this is against his former team.
This is a Zach Ertz Bowls. That's what I was going to say coming up this Sunday. So, Yeah, the Commanders and the Lions, that was a great game. Maybe not the game of the week, but it was the game of Saturday because the other game on Saturday, the Texans fall to the Chiefs. Chiefs win another one. Everybody's up in arms now about some of the questionable calls during that game. Does Mahomes get all the calls towards him? Gage, what do you think on it? Do you think that Mahomes gets the flag more often than other quarterbacks in this league? Or
surprisingly, stats-wise, say no. But I think it's when the flags come is the part that a lot of people don't like. If it's, we had a third down situation this past week for Kansas City. Mahomes overthrows Travis Kelce. Will Anderson, I still don't think he hit Mahomes in the head. And they threw a flag for roughing the passer. There was another one where Mahomes slid late, and the Texans guys ran into each other, and you get unnecessary roughness. Yeah, unnecessary roughness to each other, but you can't flag him for it. So it's like he doesn't get flagged a lot, but it's when he does that it's like, okay, let's keep their drives going with these flags, I guess.
And then also the other one that didn't get flagged, but he was trying to draw a flag on this. He's running out of bounds, and he comes to a complete stop in bounds. And the Texans player comes and shoves him, and he does this awful flop. No flag is called. And, you could tell right there, he's trying to draw a flag, and they just wouldn't throw it for once. And if you listen to the game, Troy Aikman was going off on the refs, especially during that the two Texans players. He's like, okay, now come on.
Yeah.
They don't even hit him. They hit each other, and they're throwing the flags. And it's like, hey, it's finally somebody saying something, I guess.
That's what I was going to say. It's about time we have a commentator saying, what is going on? Like, this is outrageous. And it's bad when, press conference afterwards, D'Amico Ryans talking to the media is like, yeah, we knew it was going to be us versus everybody. It's like, whoa, okay.
Well, so I think that I don't know if they get most of the flags. Like you said, stats don't show that they do. But I think it's the fact that the Chiefs are always playing primetime games, always standalone games. We see them more, so we see more of the flags and stuff going their way.
Yeah.
That may have something to do with it, but it's awful. I don't know. It's a strange coincidence.
It's very suspicious, you could say. Yeah, just trying to make him out, I think, to be the next Tom Brady. And it's like, just stop. Just let him play. Let's stop being biased. Maybe it's fixed. I don't know. But it sucks if it is. But we got to let him play and make it look real.
Yeah, and they beat the Texans the other day. I don't think that even if those calls go that way, I don't think that Texans are going to pull that out anyways. Kansas City's probably going to win that game, most likely.
It's hard to tell because Fairbairn really just screwed it up too. Well, he missed 2 field goals and an extra point.
And an extra point. Mm-hmm.
So that could have been different because that would have made it, I believe, a tied game before Ariza took the safety on the punt towards the end.
And that was a big play for a lot of people that might have had some money on that because the spread at the game was 9.5 for the Chiefs. And with that, the Texans lost by 9. So bad beat for some people out there.
I love that they kind of mention it during the broadcast too, but don't say exactly. They're like, oh, that's going to make some people very upset and some people very happy, depending on what happened.
Yeah, Joe Buck mentioned that, and I like where Troy Aikman said Al Michaels would be proud because he's always mentioning something about the gambling part of it. But, so the Chiefs, the Chiefs once again. Yeah.
Yep, Chiefs again, just somehow winning. Don't know how. It's a down season for all the players, and they still make it to this weekend's championship game.
And are you surprised that Isaiah Pacheco just can't get it going since he's come back from that broken leg? I mean, he looked awesome before he broke his leg, and then since, man, he has not been. Kareem Hunt's the top running back on that team.
And that surprised me a lot. Part of me thinks that it wasn't fully healed. Maybe he wasn't fully ready. And now you got Kareem going. Kareem's the leading rusher on the team, and for good reason. Every time he touches the ball, it feels like it's going for 4 or 5 yards, maybe a lot more. He's a strong back, and I still can't believe that Cleveland did not bring him back.
Well, it's Cleveland. I mean, so, Cleveland does a lot of things you can't believe.
Yeah, but it's hard to believe that no other team went out and got him.
Yeah.
I think if he would have went to Washington, he would have been great in that system, and he would definitely probably be the team's leading rusher instead of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, probably so. And the Chiefs move on to next week, and the last game from last week, probably the best game from last week, the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens. Goodbye, Baltimore. You are out of here. Buffalo will travel to Kansas City now. Lamar, once again, chokes in the playoffs. I know everybody's going to say Mark Andrews screwed this game up for Baltimore, but I'm here to tell you, it ain't all just him. It's Lamar. What does Lamar do in a big game? He's going to fumble the ball. What did he do? He fumbled the ball. He also threw a pick. So it can't all be on Mark Andrews, although he did have a pretty big drop that was right to him in the end zone. It ain't all on him. Gage, what do we think about Baltimore getting knocked out in the divisional round and Lamar choking once again in the playoffs?
I think you said everything that's on my mind. It's freaking great. The only thing I can think of is Tony the Tiger. They're great. It's great to see him out. Lamar, the interception that he threw, I don't really know what happened because it seemed like Rapp was the only guy even close to catching that ball. So that was good. Buffalo able to score off of that, which is great. DeMar Hamlin, hit guy, cardiac guy, strip sack. Von Miller almost took it to the house.
Yeah.
Got chased down by freaking Justice Hill of all people. And then the Mark Andrews fumbled, had a big drop earlier in the game, and then the biggest drop with 93 seconds to go on a 2-point conversion. And it felt very reminiscent of a couple seasons ago where Baltimore was playing Pittsburgh. Baltimore went for 2 to take the lead towards the end of the game. And Lamar threw it to Mark Andrews wide open in the flat, and he couldn't handle the ball. I was like, deja vu. This is great. And it leads to a loss, even better. So glad to see them out. And, if Washington wins this weekend, they're the guys that I want to win the Super Bowl.
That is who I'm pulling for now. Like I said, my Washington Commanders believed in them this whole time. Pulling for them to win it all now. Because we don't want Kansas City to win 3 in a row.
No.
Not a big fan of Sirianni. That whole group over there, I know you just hate Philly from, where you're at. And then Buffalo, I'm tired of hearing all the praise about Josh Allen, especially, we're going to hear a lot of it this Sunday. We'll talk about that a little bit. But, I'm tired of hearing that. And then Washington, what's there to hate about it? They got new owners now, a new quarterback, new team. Dan Quinn all of a sudden is wearing his hat backwards now, like he's the cool, hip, old uncle. And then you got, Cliff Kingsbury, who failed as a head coach, but seems like an awesome offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They're just fun.
Yeah. And for a team that's been kind of trash for a long time, it's good to see them back. I feel like the last time they were kind of good, a little under Dwayne Haskins, but then before that, it was like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah. And, so we got the Final Four set. But before we get into our pick'ems, there's a few head coaching changes and a few coaching changes in general on the horizon and have happened already. Ben Johnson is now the head coach with the Chicago Bears, stays in the division. He always said that the team that he feared the most when he was getting prepared for the Lions was the Chicago Bears. Yeah, I'm sure that was the case. Of course, he's said he loves going to Cubs games, and yeah, he was really sucking up in his press conference there for Chicago.
Yeah. He also said he loves beating Matt LaFleur twice a year,
Yes,
which I
he
thought
did say
was
that.
hilarious. Like, man, had to take a shot at LaFleur, didn't you? But hey, if he's as good of a head coach as he was an offensive coordinator, we might see Chicago in the playoffs next year.
They've got the talent. They didn't have the leadership, and we'll see. It's different going from coordinator to head coach. Some guys aren't made for it, some are. So we'll see if Ben Johnson's as long as he's not out here having Cole Kmet throw passes to Caleb Williams out in the flat or deep down the field, I think he'll be okay. I mean, maybe keep some of them trick plays in your back pocket. Don't bring them out, especially if you do make the playoffs in the divisional round down 10 in the fourth quarter. But that's neither here nor there.
We might see a lot of eligible tackles or guards catching passes next season in Chicago.
Yeah, does Dan Skipper go with him? Because Dan Skipper's always reporting as eligible for trick plays.
And getting double teamed at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the Lions, I mean, they had like the worst week ever, right? They're out of the playoffs. They lose their offensive coordinator. And then the next day, Aaron Glenn gets hired by the New York Jets. He's now the head man in New York. I mean, what do you think about that there? I mean, he had a great game against the Vikings. All of his players have been hurt, so maybe, I don't know, but he did a decent job with what he had, I thought.
Yeah, he did a decent job with what he had. I kind of thought maybe the defensive showing against Washington last week, maybe he would have stayed in Detroit, or maybe he would have taken defensive coordinator at a different team. I definitely did not expect him to go to the Jets, and I definitely did not expect it to be his head coach. I thought maybe if he goes somewhere, maybe it's Vegas. Maybe he goes to the Raiders. Maybe it's just nowhere or anywhere except the Jets. That was like the last team on my radar that I thought he would have gone to.
Yeah, and I think this is officially probably the end of the Aaron Rodgers era. I don't see him coming back. I don't see Aaron Glenn taking him. I think he's want to get his own guy in there and all that. But, man, I think that might be all the head coaches that was hired so far. Am I right, or did anybody else get hired?
There's been like some interviews. There's been some interest. Yeah. No other hires though that I don't believe so. A couple other rumors. Robert Saleh wants to go back to the 49ers, which I think would be good for him. Yeah. The whole thing going on with the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator in Jacksonville,
Liam Cohen.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. He said he was coming back to the Buccaneers. Then he's interviewing today with the Jaguars and not answering any calls from Buccaneers people. I don't know. It sounds like a whole mess that he's probably not coming back to Tampa Bay next year.
From firsthand experience as a Kentucky football fan, 3 years ago, Liam Cohen was hired in as the offensive coordinator when Will Levis was a quarterback. Hey, had a great season, 10-3 record. After the season's over, Sean McVay calls. He goes out to Los Angeles, becomes the offensive coordinator. Okay, I get it. That's fine. Stays a year. Mark Stoops calls him back. It's like, hey, want to run this back? And he's like, yeah, I'm in. I will stay for a few years. He comes in. 1 year as the offensive coordinator, and he's gone. And this year, he's in Tampa Bay. So this does not surprise me one bit that he says, yep, I'm staying. No, not going anywhere. And then the very next day, he has an interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This guy's going to take this job next year, and if there's another job open up next year, he's gone. He ain't going to stay any longer than a year. This guy can't stay in one place any more than 1 year. Personal experience, I know how it is. He may even come back to Kentucky next year and be the offensive coordinator one more time. Why not? And then go back to the NFL. But, yeah, what a guy.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I was holding back. I don't want to blast him on here or nothing.
So, we're going through all these coaching stuff. We haven't talked about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Notre Dame's Al Golden coming to Cincinnati to be defensive coordinator?
I'll tell you what. I know it was a reach because he probably didn't even talk to him, but I wanted Robert Saleh to be the defensive coordinator when it first came out. I was like, I'll take Robert Saleh. That's fine. Lou Anarumo goes to the Colts, by the way, so that's another one there. I think that if they were going to fire somebody, like the defense was not great, but they were improved at the end of the season. They played a whole lot better during that win streak. I think that they should have fired Zach Taylor. That was my thought. But since they didn't, I was hoping Robert Saleh. So then it comes out Monday that Al Golden was one of the finalists for the coordinator job. And I was like, oh, cool. Let's watch this national championship game and let's see. And then boom, it's 31-7 all of a sudden, and I'm like, I hope they don't get Al Golden. Let's not get Al Golden. Let's not do that. And then they hire Al Golden. They're like, hey, he's our guy. He was a linebackers coach here back in 2020 and 2021. It's like, guys, come on. I wasn't impressed.
Well, at least you know what to look forward to next year. A pretty bad defense again.
Yeah. And I think the Bengals' problem was with the defense. They didn't pay players. You let Jesse Bates walk. You let DJ Reader walk. Like, this is all within the last few years. And then you're trying to draft, and guys aren't panning out in the draft, especially in the secondary.
Yeah.
You got Trey Hendrickson. B.J. Hill's a decent defensive tackle, but he's not a DJ Reader. And I think it was more of the front office not paying guys than it was the defensive coordinator. And then the defensive coordinator, of course, I mean, you got to perform. You have one down year, and he's gone. He's going to Indy. See how he does there. But, I'm not real thrilled with the Al Golden hire myself.
There was one guy you mentioned, Trey Hendrickson, sacks leader this year. A very good piece to that defense, up for Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think he'll win Defensive Player of the Year?
No, I don't think he will.
Who do you think will then?
Oh, man.
Do you know who the finalists are?
Who are the finalists in this?
We got.
I know he was a finalist.
Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Patrick Surtain, and Zach Bond.
Patrick Surtain is probably who's going to win it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Who do you think?
I would have said Trey, but that they also proved last year that you don't have to be the sacks leader to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I really don't know. And
then Jamar was nominated for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep. Jamar and Joe.
And Joe was also an MVP finalist. Of course, he's not winning that because Josh Allen's probably winning that one. Whatever.
Hey, did you see who else is MVP finalist? Mr. Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't think he's winning that either. He's probably fourth on that list right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say they're going to give that to Josh Allen. Offensive Player of the Year. Man, who else the candidates on that?
Offensive player, we have Joe, Jamar, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and Saquon.
They're probably going to give that. Ooh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'd say they're probably going to. I don't know. I want to say Saquon.
I would say Saquon too. I hope, if anything, it'd be hilarious if Lamar wins Offensive Player of the Year and then Josh Allen wins MVP.
Yeah,
that would be great.
It would be. Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's got to be.
Rookie. Yeah, we have Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, that's got to be Jaden Daniels. I'd say that's That's probably a landslide. I mean, there's some good names on there, but I think Jaden Daniels is the guy.
I think the only other one that has a chance out of that group is Brock Bowers. Just because the rookie tight end, breaking lots of records, did a very good job with not a lot around him.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year, rookie, defensive rookie.
Defensive rookie. We have Cooper DeJean, Braden Fisk, Quinyon Mitchell, Chop Robinson, and Jared Verse.
Cooper DeJean is who I would pick. Guy hasn't given up a touchdown all year.
Joey Porter didn't do that all of last year either, and he didn't get it. So I don't trust that. But I'm going to say Jared Verse on that one.
Well, he had a pretty good wild card game.
Yeah. I'm surprised Chop Robinson's in there, but I guess you need 5 finalists.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Comeback player of the year.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, and, of course, cardiac man, Damar Hamlin.
So, wasn't Damar Hamlin up for this last year and didn't win because Joe Flacco won? That's
exactly what I thought. I mean, I guess you need 5 people, right? But why is Aaron Rodgers not on here?
Well, I mean, he should be. He should be a finalist.
Yeah,
I would pick Joe Burrow only because Damar Hamlin didn't die last season. It was the season before. And if you can't come back from the dead last year to win comeback player of the year, you can't this year either. So I'm going to stick with Burrow on this. That's my thought process.
I agree with that. Sam Darnold, he actually played last year. He was just horrible.
What did he come back from? Sucking? I mean, come on.
Yeah, came back from being on, 2 or 3 different teams last year, I guess. I don't really know. Christian Gonzalez is a good corner, but I don't think he's, Joe Burrow comeback player level, and same thing with JK.
Yeah, if you're nominated for an MVP the year after, you have to win comeback player of the year, right?
You would hope.
You would hope. Who knows?
And then the last one we got here is Coach of the Year. We got Dan Campbell for the Lions, Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings, Sean Payton for the Broncos, Dan Quinn for the Commanders, and, of course, Andy Reid for the Chiefs.
So they voted on this, of course, before the playoffs and stuff. So Dan Campbell's probably going to win it, would be my guess. But the way it is, Dan Quinn is probably if they do it now, this guy has led this team out of nowhere to a conference championship game, maybe a Super Bowl.
I could think that. I could think Kevin O'Connell too. Because who expected a Sam Darnold-led team? J.J. McCarthy was supposed to be their guy.
Yeah.
He gets hurt. He's out for the season, has surgery. Sam Darnold comes in 15 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get killed the last game. You kind of get killed the first game of the playoffs. But supposedly playoffs are not supposed to be taken into consideration with these. So I don't know.
Yeah. But, you're right. I mean, I could see that. I could see Sean Payton, too, because who were they supposed to have? Bo Nix as a quarterback? Nobody thought he was going to be what he was going to be and let him into the playoffs. Once they got there, of course.
And then you just got Andy Reid, of course. He's going to be there because the Chiefs are good every season now.
Yeah. Is there a coordinator of the year? Because I'm sure it's going to go to Spagnolia because every time they play a game – I mean, every time the Chiefs are playing, it's always Spags over here on the sidelines. He gets more time than Andy Reid does.
Looking at it, Spagnolia is not one of the finalists.
Oh.
We have Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Vic Fangio, Eagles defensive coordinator. Brian Flores, Vikings defensive coordinator. And then both the Lions coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson.
So Ben Johnson's probably winning that one.
That was all I could think is him, and he will be accepting it on the stage wearing a Chicago Bears jacket.
Yeah, how weird will that be? Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has won coordinator of the year. Congratulations.
Yeah. The Chicago Bears head coach has won offensive coordinator, assistant coach of the year. This is weird.
Yeah. Oh man. So those are all the awards coming up here. We hit the coaching stuff. Now let's talk about the championship games coming up this Sunday. And we start out the NFC Championship, 3 o'clock on Fox. The Washington Commanders travel to Philadelphia to face the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is a 6-point favorite in this one. Gage, I already know where you're going with it. You already know where I'm going with it. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. Who you got in this one, Gage?
I just got to keep the Philly hate going. Looking at injury reports right now, for the Eagles, Dallas Goedert and Cam Jurgens both questionable. But for the Commanders, they got Frankie Louvu questionable and Olamide Zaccheaus questionable. Those are the big ones for each team. To be played in Philadelphia, the weather's looking to be about 39 degrees, so not nearly as cold as what we had last week. Probably no snow as well, which is going to be good. A 63.7% chance for the Eagles to win, according to ESPN. 6-point favorites, and we're going to take the underdogs. My underdog sleeper pick of the week, and I can already say it's probably going to be yours, is the Washington Commanders. Give me the Commanders upsetting Philly. Upset special. Tickets as low as $537 for this game. You know what? Let me just go ahead and buy a ticket right now. Give me the Commanders. Give me the upset. Philly, come on home to sit on the couch.
Let's go. I like it. So these two teams, of course, they're in the same division. They played twice. The last time this game was played in Philly, the Eagles won 26-18. But they played again in Week 16, and the Commanders won in an exciting game, like 36-33. Vic Fangio's defense gives up 36 points. Like, Philly's defense has been great all season, and they give up 36 in that game right there. Jaden Daniels is on another level right now, I think, and he's playing great. Like I said, they're playing on house money in this game right here. Philly's got all that inside turmoil there. I mean, the defense has been great, but this offense for the Commanders can make a great defense not look so good. And what they did to Detroit last week and what they did to Tampa Bay the week before, I mean, they beat both of them. They beat Detroit convincingly. Everybody, a lot of people's Super Bowl picks, right? Like, me and you both last week come on here and we're like, yeah, their lines are at home. Commanders, nice run. It's all good. They played Philly twice. They're not afraid of Philly. They'll be ready to come out and play. Dan Quinn is, like I said, he's going to go for it on fourth down several times. He's going to trust his guys. And last week they picked up just about every fourth down that they went for, it felt like. I don't even think the punter came out much. The kicker came out, I think, once. Zane Gonzalez, I'm pretty sure he just came out once.
Besides for
kicked a field goal?
Points, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to take an upset pick here as well. Give me the Commanders in this one. Hail to the Commanders. I think that they're going to win this game, and I think it's going to be the over-under is 47.5. I think they're going to score some points, which makes Philly going to have to score some points. Jalen Hurts is going to have to put the ball in the air a little bit. You're going to have to get A.J. Brown going a little bit maybe in this game. You got Saquon, of course, but you can't run Saquon the whole time because the Commanders are going to make you have to pass, I believe, in this one. If they jump on them like they did the Lions last week, look out because they may win this game by 2 scores. Go Commanders. Let's go. Go to the Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels, rookie, leading his team to the Super Bowl in his rookie season.
And, this show kind of, the color scheme a little bit is a little bit of Washington. I got the red lights here for the Washington Commanders. Don't say the wrong thing there. Our names are both in red. You have a, Washington color kind of hat on. So, we're just all pulling for the Commanders here.
Yeah. Hey, do the little that's the W right there. Yeah, or that. I don't want to do the U, but, But yeah, we're all for the Commanders. This is a Commanders podcast now for the rest of this season. Yep. So let's go.
Unless they lose, in which case, well, I don't really know.
Unless they lose, it all depends on what happens in this next game. Which 6:30 on CBS, the AFC Championship game, the Buffalo Bills travel to Arrowhead to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is a 2-point favorite. Gage, is this finally the year Josh Allen gets over the hump and beats Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Kansas City? Or do we get Kansas City going back to their third straight Super Bowl?
Well, Buffalo has a kind of history of losing in the same game multiple years in a row.
4 to be exact.
Yeah, 4, and I don't know exactly what game that would be like, but it's pretty super, we could say. Yeah, the Chiefs, they announced, I believe yesterday or 2 days ago, they wouldn't be activating McCole Hardman, which I think is actually kind of a big deal for them. A better receiver on the team. They don't have many. They got DeAndre Hopkins, who had no catches last week. Travis Kelce, though, he was playoff Kelce last week. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a good game. Injury report-wise, we have Matt Milano, Taylor Rapp, Christian Benford, all questionable for the Bills. The Chiefs look all healthy. None of their guys are questionable or doubtful. It's going to be a tough one. It's in Arrowhead. Buffalo is actually ESPN Analytics, 54.6% chance for Buffalo to win in Arrowhead. Oh. I think it would be hilarious for Buffalo to go and beat the Chiefs and then go on to lose their 5th Super Bowl against the Washington Commanders. So, with that being said, let's take the Buffalo Bills here. We're going to go with the Buffalo Bills. We're going to take the points. Tickets not as high as the Eagles game. Only $202 for this one.
Ooh.
And Chiefs fans, I guess you could say, my heart goes out to you. Give me the Bills. Give me the points.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure one of those 4 losses that Buffalo had back in one of those super games that they had was to a Washington football team. So that would be kind of something, wouldn't it? But the Chiefs this year, I mean, it's all about the defense for the Chiefs. That's what's carrying this team right here. Basically, Mahomes has been managing games pretty much. I mean, he had 177 yards last week. Kelce had 117 of them. And Xavier Worthy was the only wide receiver that had any catches for the Chiefs last week. You know, it was Noah Gray got a catch, and was it Kareem Hunt, I think, got another catch. Other than that, like, none of the wide receivers. I mean, Hollywood Brown had a target, missed the catch, was overthrown there, whatever, went through his hands. And, Juju, I don't even remember Juju getting a target.
I don't think he did.
D-Hop got a target, didn't get a catch. But it's all about that defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Karlaftis on that side, Chris Jones, who I'm pretty sure he was drinking a 40 on the sidelines during one game, and they caught him, and whatever. But Buffalo, on the other hand, Josh Allen didn't play his best last week, I didn't think.
No.
Played okay. James Cook has really been good the last few weeks. Shakir, he's good for some catches on that other side. He's got the tight ends, Kincaid, Knox. They're going into Arrowhead once again. Can he finally get the monkey off his back? I don't know if he can or not. Tony Romo's calling this game for CBS. So get ready for the Josh Allen love, because it's going to happen. And I think that he's going to love this game even more, because Buffalo Bills go into Arrowhead and they get the win, upset. 2 upsets this weekend. The Commanders, Bills in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Give me Buffalo to win this one. And go Bills, I guess, on this.
It's crazy. We're both going to same teams this week. I had to look this up. The 1991 to 1992 NFL playoffs. Washington beat Buffalo in the Super Bowl, just like you said. Who else did Washington beat during that streak? The Detroit Lions. They beat them in the NFC Championship game. So maybe we got something going on here. History's going to repeat itself a little bit.
History repeats itself. Let's hope so for this week. And, I don't know if this is what we actually believe is going to happen or what we're actually hoping for as fans, because that's what I want to see.
This is what we think is going to happen because you know what? It's the NFL and anything is possible.
That's right. And we'll see if it happens. Let's hope it happens. I think they're both going to be really good games. These four teams probably deserve to be there. They're going to be, deserving if they both make it, or whoever makes it out of these four teams, I think. So, you couldn't ask for a better Final Four, I guess.
I mean, you absolutely could. Pittsburgh could be there. Cincinnati could be there. Like, there's ways that we can make this and have this be a better Final Four.
You're right. You're definitely right. That could be a whole lot better. But since we're here, I mean, I think at this point we're just rooting against a three-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. Like, anybody but Kansas City. Like, if it's Kansas City and Philly next week, I mean, it's fly, Eagles, fly, right? At that point.
At that point, I would just hope that it goes into overtime and it's just never ending. We just never declare a Super Bowl champion.
Vacant wins the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59. Yeah, we are going to speak it into existence. Bills, Commanders, Super Bowl. 2 weeks. Let's go.
Let's hope. That would be awesome. And then Commanders win because hail to the Commanders.
Hail to the Commanders. And that will do it for us this week on this episode. Next week we'll be back and we'll, I don't know. We better hope there's some coaching changes because Pro Bowl games, I guess we can break down Manning versus Manning kick of destiny. I mean, we could do that.
It's going to be interesting. Hopefully a lot of stuff happens because, I don't know. The Pro Bowl games, like you said, they're hit or miss. I don't know if I can depend on breaking down the Pro Bowl games.
If not, I mean, I guess we could debate whether Ichiro should have been a unanimous pick for the Hall of Fame or not.
Ooh. That's. I want to meet the person that said, no, I'm not voting for him.
Yeah, like, who sits there, like, Mariano Rivera is like the only unanimous vote for Hall of Fame. Like, who's voting on this stuff? Like, you can't tell me Ken Griffey Jr. wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer? Like, Hank Aaron wasn't unanimous? Like, your vote should be retracted at that point in time. You should lose all privileges.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know who didn't vote for him. I'm sure it'll come out at some time. But I also saw Ichiro said he wants to sit down and have a beer with the guy that didn't vote for him. That would be I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that one.
Yeah, and then CC Sabathia made the Hall of Fame in his first year on the ballot, and then Billy Wagner made the Hall of Fame, which, Billy Wagner made the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, okay.
Never would have thought Billy Wagner was a Hall of Fame pitcher when he pitched, but whatever.
No. I'm glad Dave Parker made it. Finally, we have something to cheer about, which is awesome. But no, if there was a vote that Parker got that maybe Ichiro didn't get, maybe this person voted for Parker, buddy, change your vote. I don't care. Ichiro should be unanimous.
Yeah, he should have been unanimous for sure. And, so like I said, maybe next week but there'll be some stuff come out next week. There's got to be. Like, Aaron Rodgers going on a retreat or something. Something's got to happen, Maybe that's our homework assignment. We watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix, and we review it this week on this podcast along with the Pro Bowl.
God, I hope I don't get a grade for it.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening. But tune in next week. We'll have stuff to talk about. We'll see you all next time.
Later.